Hi, I'm Jeff Gonzalez, President of Trident Concepts, and today I'd like to talk to you about interacting with law enforcement as a concealed carrier. First of all, here in the state of Texas, if you're pulled over for any type of traffic violation, you are required to present your license to carry when you're carrying. If you're not carrying, it's a judgment call on your part. I encourage you to be polite and to be upfront and honest. There's really no reason for you to try to hide anything at that point. Outside of that, let's talk about how do you interact with law enforcement. God forbid you actually have to use your firearm in a deadly force encounter, self-defense setting. The first thing that we talk about is, number one, make sure that you are of the mindset that arriving officers do not know that you're the good guy. They'll be coming to a chaotic scene, and while you know that you're the good guy, they will not. So always kind of keep that in the forefront of your brain and make all of your actions around interacting with law enforcement with that in mind, first and foremost. Second thing, do I reholster prior to the arrival of law enforcement? That's a good question, and the way that I answer that is let the situation dictate. If the suspect is injured and potentially still combative or still have access to weaponry, then you might not want to reholster. You might want to move to a position where you can cover the subject, but still maintain that firearm. However, as soon as law enforcement arrives, you must comply with their commands at the very earliest opportunity. So do I set the gun down? Do I reholster? If you happen to anticipate law enforcement arriving, holstering up is a good idea. If they happen to arrive while you still have the gun in your hand, preemptively putting the gun on the ground is a good sign. Let's talk about why that's a good sign before the voice commands from law enforcement. Because more than likely, the criminal element is not going to put down the gun voluntarily. As far as how you interact, again, I tell people that you want to create the narrative first and foremost that you are the victim. So when you're interacting with law enforcement, everything that you're saying is hopefully going to be relaying that. Officers, I would like to file a complaint against this individual. He threatened me, he hit me, he kicked me, he tried to kidnap me, he tried to rape me, whatever the case might be. The first person that files the complaint is going to be listed as the victim, and it's really hard at that point to change that narrative. Okay, so that's a very important thing that you look at from the strategic side of the house as far as your legal defense is concerned. After that, how much information do you relay? My recommendation is that you first consult with a law enforcement if you're going to carry concealed. I'm sorry, not a law enforcement, a lawyer before you start to carry concealed, and ask them what their advice is, and then follow that advice. If you don't have access to a lawyer, then one of the other things that you can do is consider some of the various shooters insurance. A good one that I recommend would be the CCWSafe. If you have any questions, they're a good resource for you to go to as far as whether or not you want to look at that shooter's insurance. So the bottom line, folks, is that remember that law enforcement arriving may not know that you are the good guy. So you want to create the opportunity for them to see that you're the good guy, as well as communicate that through your language. All right, I'm Jeff Gonzalez. Love to hear any questions or comments. Please post them down below. Until then, take care and stay safe.